Hola, 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 ça va? Hello, Africa. Good evening, good morning once again, and welcome to the Catalyst African Town Hall. You are welcome. I see we have people all from all over Africa. Who said this from Kenya? Is it Alfred?
Alfred is from Nigeria.
Oh, okay, Alfred, Nigeria. Okay, okay, okay. So, just a quick update. Before we give the platform to our resource person to introduce what we have today, right? So we all know that the African Town Hall, the backbone of the African Town Hall is the Cardano blockchain and Project Catalyst that is financing us to keep things running. And aside of our physical meetups, aside of our virtual meetups, we want to also reach the unreached and attend host physical meetups in the African communities. So this time around, what you can see on your screen, our team is to empowering blockchain education and growth in Africa, and it is coming soon, right? We'll keep updating the partners logos. Currently, we have the Accra Resource Center, we have the Cardano Ghana community, we have Remo Stats. We keep updating it as we keep sending letters around. So those that they accept to host programs for us, we bring them on board. We want to um, bring new African countries, places that we have not operated in, right? In the previous uh, um, expansion project that the African Town Hall did, we were able to host a program in Uganda, and also we did one in Congo, Nigeria, and South Africa and Ghana. And this time around, we want to expand, although we are including Ghana again in this time around. So this is our mandate to promote Cardano, advocate for Cardano, and make and onboard um, more people into the Cardano blockchain. And our main focus is the university students. Aside that, we're also thinking of bringing the Cardano or translating it or reaching out to the Francophones, and we are working on that. We are writing some things down, and Laurentine, you hear from us very soon on how we can also add you to this project that we are doing so that we can reach the Francophone. So I think this project will be a perfect one for us to start with a physical town hall. Then later on, see how we can also start running the French town hall that we discussed the last time. So this is what we have in our bag to empower blockchain education and growth in Africa. And not any other blockchain, but Cardano blockchain technology, which is our backbone. And of course, I happen to be the Cardano ambassador, and I'm proud of that. So wherever I be, I mention it. And it's my core mandate and the team core mandate to promote the Cardano. So once again, thank you very much for joining us. Today we are with us, right? For the past 4 weeks, we be doing this series, whereby we bring we brought the chief executive officer of Remostat, who is telling us what is going on in the Cardano ecosystem and how we can participate as Africans, and also things that like you're supposed to hear, but you might not have heard it, or actions that have been taken that you are not aware of, right? And it's not just the CEO of the Remostat, but it's also an active member when it comes to the Cardano ecosystem, when it comes to Interset MBO, and then when it comes to the African Town Hall himself, it's a key player of the team. Obio, if you are there, would you like to say hello to us and just a little bit intro, right? About you. Then we start.
All right, am I visible?
Yes, sir.
All right, hi everyone. This is Ubio here, and yeah, um, I'm happy to be with my community. This is where I call home, and this is where I interact with my people. So every time we are here, it's always a privilege to be here. I happen to be the CEO of Remostar as well. at Remostat, we are actively trying. We believe that opportunities are not exclusive to one location, and we are actively decentralizing opportunities and for people all over the world, and especially to talents in under resourced regions of the world. I'm an AI engineer, expert by profession and by studies, right? I love this thing, and I'm a passionate blockchain enthusiast. In the Cardano Foundation, in the Cardano community, I currently belong to the Intersect Constitutional Council, where we engage on constitutional matters to see how they relate to us, right? We mostly um, come together to vote and discuss on how issues that are proposals and stuff that are going on in the ecosystem are either constitutional or not. And obviously, I'm a CAD. I'm actively in CAD here, representing the Nigerian community and actively trying to ensure that the Cardano community in Nigeria, especially, grows well, and then we are and very united. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I also do a lot of other things that maybe with time you may get to know. I'm a passionate reader and I love researching. So yeah, nice being here.
Yes, Obio, thank you very much. I forgot to add that Obio actually also introduced the Singularity Net to us, and we're able to get some funding to do a research on AI, and we are still on it. So if you're interested in AI and AI projects and research, please get in touch with us and let's see how we can also implement this project. Merci beaucoup. And we don't do this alone, right? We have team members back there that also support us with resources, advice, and how we should go about it. When it comes to the Accra Resource Center, we have Madam Efia, who is also doing tremendously very well, and she also happened to be the coordinator of the African Town Hall. We have Boaz. Boaz is also doing so well in DRC. And recently, I noticed he did some program on is it SRP? Yes, SRP blockchain. And then we also have Richmond, who is also helping us with advocacy and marketing of our posters and the rest of posters, and then editing videos for us and helping us to finish up with our project, right? He's also a team member. And also, all of you here are also part of us. If you go to our website, we have dedicated a place for you. The community is also part of the team. So it's not only the three or the four of us, but your contributions are welcomed as well. So what is going to happen today is that OBO is going to take us around the globe, right? 360 around the globe, telling us what has happened, actions that have happened, how we can also take part of it, how we can also participate, things that you're supposed to know, proposals that have been open, funded, is it funded or funding rounds that have been open in the ecosystem that you can take, like anything that you're supposed to know. So please, if you are here today, this is going to be for your advantage. Don't leave here. And we also have veteran community members like Mr. Nzula, who's also doing so well in Congo, currently in Canada. He implemented the internet in the bus, where is a very innovative tech that he did. You notice that some of his community members find it very difficult to access internet, so he created wireless internet for them. Right, you don't need the internet. All that you have to do is to connect to his device. It was very mind-blowing. I hope you can collaborate with OBO and see how we can push this thing forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Mhm.
really, as you were saying that, I just saw that there's a lot that needs to be done, especially from the deep funding part of things, which I will also update on this call as well. So yeah.
Okay. So, Obio, over to you. Tell us what we're supposed to know, what you want to share with us today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And it's a privilege to be here. Um, I would love this to be a little bit much more participatory. So I would love to see questions. I would like people to just respond to things, ask questions, share your own opinion as we go around the globe with happenings in Cardano. So let's say I say something and you would want more clarity, please put in. Maybe we say something and then you would want to add much more context to it. Like feel free. So this is that kind of call because we've had like we've followed through the call. We've had different discussion explaining what is going on and good from the governance perspective in Cardano. So today should be much more realistic and feasible. I want to hear questions like, how do I get involved? Okay, so how do I share this? How can I put my contribution? How do I put my voice, right? That is where I would be much more happy to lead from today. However, for a start, I'm going to be starting with just some updates on some critical things that have been going on is in the Cardano ecosystem. I'll be sharing my screen with us so that we can go in and see it together. So, sorry, I'll be going to the site that shows you everything Cardano. And this is very important so that in case you are here, you want to understand what is going on at any point in time, you can always go into the site as well and do that. So I'm copying it here and I'm going to be putting it here on the chat room. The assumption is that most people here should know, but assumption is the least form of knowledge. So every time we have opportunity to teach people about governance and the tool, we should never assume that people know everything. So assumption is always the lowest form of knowledge. Every time you have opportunity to teach people on governance, do it wholly. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing this link here. So this is adastar.net/governances, right? So we should all go there and then let's see what is going on in the ecosystem together, right? Sorry, my screen. I don't know why my screen is always acting up anytime we're in this call. Yeah, let's put this up. Sorry, I'm coming up.
Can I help you with the screen sharing if you want?
Okay, that would be helpful.
Okay. Okay. Is my screen visible for you, Obio? Are you there?
I'm on it now. So if you need me to, can you see me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Beautiful.
All right, and am I still visible now?
Very, very busy. Yeah, you are visible. It looks like you are.
Richmond, Richmond, don't worry. Richmond, don't worry. You won yesterday and today. You won, no problem, man. All right, let me know if I can continue.
Yeah, you can continue.
So, am I sharing the screen or is Daniel sharing?
Daniel is sharing for you.
All right, okay, thank you. Thank you, okay. So, this is the one of the governance tools that I think we should all be conversant with. It gives you statistics on what is going on in the Cardano ecosystem. In this tool, for example, you can see what are the current issues that are that are going on, what are the current governance issues that are going on, and you can see the ones that have been passed, and you can see the ones that have been ratified. So, for example, now parameter change. Let's go through history. Let's go through all. So, if you go in here, you will see that the first governance action that we had was in Epoch 21, right? Was it Epoch 21? Hold on. Epoch 507, sorry. And that was when the submission date was, and it expired on 514. And you can see that it has been crossed here, showing that this did not pass. The idea for this was, it was an info action to name the next hard fork Husky hard fork. I know a lot of people can still remember this, right? This was like the first info action. I would want to assume that this was probably done to test the system, right? To see the whole reason. So this did not pass, so you can see it crossed here. The next one was an info action, Cardano Igali. The next one was, should K be increased? That's the K parameter. Should we increase it? These were all info actions. So you can see how it all crossed there, showing that it was not enacted. The next one was Bluetooth V3 cost model parameter changes prior to Chang hard fork 2. And this did not pass. And this is very important, right? Because it's possible that you have to be paying keen attention to the reason why your info action or governance action did not pass, right? Because it gives you an information into what needs to be done for it to pass. Now, this was a parameter change kind of governance action, and it did not pass. And obviously, let's see why it did not pass. 5 people voted no to it. So obviously that did not pass. That's going by the council. 5 councils voted 0. And then, so now what happened between here and here is so it's possible that 2 persons can put in the same governance action, and one passes while the other one fails. What happened here is that we would want to assume that the proposers went and listened to the rationale. So be very mindful of the rationale for why something is being passed or not, especially when it is a governance action that is to be ratified through the councils or the Constitutional Council. So you can see in the next one here, it passed, right? So this is just a typical example. So you can see here is written enacted. Why was it enacted? We had 7 votes and nothing, no 0 vote for it. All right, the next one was to rename the Chang hard fork to the Plumbing hard fork, right? It was an info action. It expired. It had more abstain than and no votes, and then than yes and all of that. So here, then the same one we have hard fork to protocol version 10 was now changed to plumbing hard fork here. So you can just go through and see here. So here, new constitution, you can see the new constitution was enacted, and that's why we are now using the new constitution. If it was not enacted, we wouldn't have been able to use it. So you can go through and see the stats, the data, how many people voted yes and how many people voted no. All right, so now to the more recent ones. Last time we had our conversation here, we talked about the, so this is the last one, Constitutional Council, Cardano Constitution to be replaced with the interim constitution, which was enacted, right? So the interim constitution that was signed in Argentina and Kenya, right? So now all of that has been done, and we can now see the most recent one. decrease treasury tax from 20% to 10%, right? In our last call, I was very clear to go deeper to explain the dynamics to why we voted the way we did. I'm not going to go deep into this, but maybe I may want to go deep a little bit into this, defining the Cardano vision and roadmap for 2025, because the last time we had a call, I was able to explain why we voted no to decreasing treasury tax from 20% to 10%. I showed us all the arguments for and against. So let's see this. Defining the Cardano vision and roadmap for 2025. So I don't know if you saw what we did there. You just click on any of the governance action, and then it will open more, and then you can go in and see more details about it. Now you can see that it expired. That means it was not ratified. It was not enacted. So let's see why it was not enacted. Let's go through and see. By the constitution, about whether it was constitutional, 66.67% of the council voted for that it is constitutional. Only Intersect Council, which is the council I belong to, voted no to it. However, other councils voted abstain. Eastern Council voted abstain. And this is very important because it will help us to understand how this works. Cardano Foundation voted yes. Emogo voted yes. IOG voted abstain. Cardano Japan Council voted yes. Now, how come we now have 66.67%? When you vote abstain as a council, you are automatically, so in the Cardano governance, abstain does not necessarily mean no. Abstain just means that you don't want to be involved, or you feel that not being involved is much more appropriate for you, or due to whatever reasons, which I will still give reasons that some of the councils did give. And I'll give why. I'll just give one or two reasons to why Cardano, one of these councils, why they voted abstain, why we in Intersect Council voted a no, and why some community members voted a yes. So some other councils voted a yes. But the key thing I want us to notice here is that based on whatever is being written here, you can see that so 3 persons voted abstain, and then 3 persons voted a yes, and then there was 1 no. And then we are now saying that it is 66.67%, that it has a 75% pass, and then the approval threshold, as we know, is 66.67%. How is that the case, right? So in measuring the percentage excludes everybody who abstains. So when a council abstains from voting, they automatically mean that they don't want to participate. So this is the 75% is gotten based on the people who voted either a yes or a no. So in this case, you can see that it was only 4 persons who participated in reality in voting, and out of those 4, 3 said yes, and then 1 said no. So this automatically means that it is a no. It means that 75% voted for yes, and then only 25% voted no. So I don't know if that is clear, but maybe just to rephrase, when a council abstains, it does not automatically mean no. They are excluded from the calculation. The calculation only takes notice of those who said yes and those who said no. It calculates the average based on that, and this is a threshold that needs to be approved. And then once that threshold is reached, it's actually approved. So 1 yes from the this thing, and I'm going to come down to give the reasons that were stated by some of the councils here. But just objectively, we can see here 1 yes from the so yes from the constitutional councils. D-reps, right? So let's see what the D-reps said. The D-reps actually voted no to this. And how was that? Now, here it is. The threshold that you need for it to pass is actually here, right? So, but unfortunately, we had how many? So let's see. We had about 2.75 billion voting yes, and then we had about 46.53 million voting no, 165 million voting what was that? Voting no confidence. So a no confidence vote is still a vote in itself. So you can see why we say people should participate even more, because you can see 165 million already saying no confidence, 46, and then those who did not vote was about 1.3. Now the threshold total abstain is actually 5.57 billion, right? And so you can see about 35.44% did not voted no, 64.5 6% voted yes. However, this was not crossed. And because this was not crossed, the margin makes it not to be passing there, right? So then if you cross down here, you can see how each of the individual D-reps voted. So if you may want to go down here and then check through, and if you want to check over here, you can see how you can click here for the ones that had their rationale attached into the to whatever the reasons they voted. Now we have the SPOs who are not in this, so they're automatically a yes. The status of this is that it was expired, right? So you can see it over here. Now coming down here, so I said I will just give one reasons why each of the councils voted the way they did. The people that said abstain, the councils that voted abstain, I think they were citing the section of the Constitution, I think section 7, article 7, section 4, around that talks about the fact that the duty of the Constitutional Council is to vote primarily on the constitutionality of a governance action, and that the council may or may not vote on an info action, especially, but they are bound to vote on info actions that will later on have on-chain effect, or will come in as future proposals. I'm paraphrasing this now. Future proposals for governance actions, right? So the implication of this was this, right? That so most of the guys that were saying we are abstaining were simply saying, see, this is not a core duty for us as the Constitutional Council. We are not bound by duty to vote for or against the against this particular proposal, because this proposal does not inherently in itself have the capacity to morph into a governance action that will have on-chain effect, right? And so because it's not going to morph into an on-chain effect or on-chain governance action, then we are not bound by any duty to cast our vote on that particular this thing, which you quote unquote you may say is valid or not. Intersect, actually, which is the council that I belong to, we voted no, primarily because there is a section of the Constitution that primarily says that governance actions should be even info actions or any governance action should have the capacity for it to be it should not be immutable, right? It should be immutable. So our argument was this, right? If we say a yes to this info action, now let's assume, no, so something was lacking in this info action. There was no link to either an IPFS or any immutable this thing. The document was not stored on any immutable ledger, on either on Cardano or any immutable ledger. So this was where the intersect constitutional council was laying our argument from, that we cannot, since we don't have this this particular document on any IPFS or any immutable ledger, we cannot say it is constitutional, because there's a part of the constitution that in itself demands that governance action should, or for it to be constitutional, it has to be on an immutable ledger. So when you put in a governance action, you should come in, there should be a copy of that stored in an immutable ledger. The second argument is this: if you don't have it stored in an immutable ledger, there's a probability that someone can change the content of that particular constitution. And by changing the content, bringing it, so it can just be maybe changing a word or two. And because it was not on an immutable ledger, we would not be able to detect it. So imagine that we pass an info action now as a yes, and then the person now want to bring it back. So we're not necessarily talking about the context or the content of the submission of the proposal in itself. We were much more focused on the structural layout of that submission or of that proposal. So first, you could see the councils that said Atlantic, that said they are abstaining. They are not looking into the content. They are simply saying that we are looking at our role and we don't think this is too perfect for our role, as such we abstain. Intersect is saying, well, we don't really care enough about the content, but there is a structure for the packaging that this thing's supposed to go into, right? And that packaging and that structure is not in itself something that we are okay with. It is that structure and that content that we are voting unconstitutional too, not necessarily about the content of that proposal, right? So, because in the future, this is also to create a precedent that if in future votes, if people do not follow the outline and the structure of the submission, even when the content in itself is valid, we are still going to be saying unconstitutional to that, because the constitutionality of a governance action is not only about what is being submitted, but the totality of what is being submitted. So both the content and the structure of it is what the constitutionality of it is what we are judging, right? So that was the argument from the Intersect Constitutional Council. The Cardano Foundation and Emogo and the Japanese Council, most of them focused more on the content which was submitted, and they felt that, well, whether constitutional or not, it doesn't really matter, but this content in itself is clear. It shows a good roadmap for what vision and roadmap for 2025 for this year and beyond. It does not break any letter of that content in itself does not break any letter of intent of the Constitution. As such, it is constitutional. Don't forget that in the Constitutional Council, we don't vote for whether it is good or bad, which is where a lot of people usually miss our argument. Because when we say something is unconstitutional or constitutional, people automatically presume that that is support or unsupport for that particular governance action. Our role is not to support. The people whose role is to support a particular governance action or not are the DREPs, right? So they are the ones that determine that. For us, it is our own job is just to check, is this thing constitutional or not? Does it align with what we want? And is it okay for it to pass over when if executed? So that is all what we care about. And that and people should not conflict that So when we say it is constitutional, we are not saying that it should that we are okay with the content. We are not looking at the roadmap and saying, okay, we are approving this roadmap. That's not what we are approving. The Constitutional Council is only approving that whatever it is that has been submitted follows the guidelines and the rules. And that's just it. So our own is just to check the rules and the guide. And when it does, it passes. And when it passes over to the DREP, as it did in this case, it is now their own vote. In this case, you could see just a few number of people saying no, but because of the low turnout of the DREPs, not having so many DREPs coming out to vote yes, quote unquote, even if this should have passed, it did not pass on time. And that is how by the end of the epoch, it expired. And that was the case over here. So wrapping this up, good, we should always have our tools, see what's going on, and we should understand the dynamics of the votes between the these councils and the DREPs and what they mean per time. Just to let us know, there are currently two active governance actions that we may want to check. Both of them are info actions. Still, the net change limit proposals with this. So we've got two different proposals. One is saying that we should set 2025 net change limit for 300 million ADA and then net change limit for 250 million ADA. You may want to go in and read through their rationale and what they want, why they're saying what they want to say. For want of time, we're not going to go into that. And then we also have another governance action here by another team. And I think it's still trying to change or set the net change limit. But again, don't forget, these are mostly info actions, and info actions are mostly there to get the community sentiment. And based on that sentiment, the proposers can decide what to do and what not to do. So yeah, that's the update from the constitutional side. From the budget side, let's rush it through. Budgets have been extended for those of us that last time we spent some time educating us on how we can go out and submit our budgets for anything you want to do. Maybe form alliances, come together, and let's try to test the governance system itself. You never know. I wouldn't want us to just sit down and be laid back and be like, oh, they're not going to, we need only the guys with the big bag will get voted in. We shouldn't believe that. We should test the system, test the model, and go in all in. So just to inform us, in the last time we met, I told us that deadlines for submission of the budget was on the 31st of March, but just to inform us that it has been extended up to the 21st of April. Please, we are advised to submit earlier so that your proposals can engage with the DREPs on time and get to answer questions. And obviously, your proposals can be out there on time. The earlier you submit, the more people get to see it, and then as compared to late submission. So just to inform us that it has been pushed to that. We've got close to about 90 or more submissions already from the community. So, and that's not a lot, right, compared to our community. So I'm expecting each and every from Africa. I've not seen so many African submissions. So let's do that. Let's test the system. Let's test the model. But the only thing I would advise is, please, as you're doing that, put in a strong proposal, well researched, put in your links, show this thing. Let's not come out shabbily, right? We know the way our ecosystem can be sometimes, quote and unquote, very salty. So you don't want to put in something that has not passed through the rigors of research and the rigors of time, right? So please, let's go through that. And finally, I just want to say, so just since we are still talking generally on the ecosystem generally, I want to talk about the deep funding just briefly for those of us that might be interested. Deep funding, as we already know, is actually a Cardano site, Cardano in the Cardano ecosystem. So they will be starting their grant next month, deep funding round 5. So if you do have any proposals or ideas that are AI related, that's why I said I was quite interested with this guy because I think there's a lot that can be done with this AI project, with this project that can integrate AI as well to the whole Internet of Box stuff. So maybe we can talk about, but it's coming up next month. Preparations are ongoing. However, there is a proposal that there is an ideation challenge proposal that is currently going on, ideation and hackathon challenge. It's called AI for Peace. I'm going to be sharing the link at the end of this conversation. I don't think I have to run through to get the links, not immediately. I'm trying to do that now. So I'm not good with talking and doing another thing at the same time. So I'll be trying to get that. So there's a challenge going on. It's called AI for Peace. The idea is just an idea challenge. Whatever idea you have on how we can use AI to create peace. You don't need to build it, just ideas, just submit it and be like, oh, we can do this. If we engage AI in this particular way, we are going to be able to bring peace to the world. So AI for Peace contest is currently ongoing. Just submit ideas. That's just what it's all about. Just submit ideas that you have in your mind on how we can use AI to bring peace to the world. So yeah, I've been able to get the link now. I'm sharing it here. Okay, yeah, thank you. You've already shared that. And then the second one is, yeah, thank you so much, Dana, for sharing that. Then the next one is actually, so inside the ideation challenge is actually what we call the hackathon. So if you want to hack, if you want to develop, or students, community, people developers that want to do hack as well. So it's called a dualathon because there is an ideation challenge and there is a dualathon challenge, right? There's a hackathon challenge. So ideas from the ideation would now will now be used as challenge categories for people that want to submit that want to join the hackathon to develop anything. So please, if you're interested as well, go through the link, try to submit. I think this is actually the easiest one. Just any idea. How do we bring peace? Just go in there. Who knows if your crazy idea can actually be that thing that we've been looking for, right? To create peace to the world. And then if you're a hacker, you're a developer, or developers, share with them so that they can register for the hackathon and then get into prize. It's for your ideas. Just imagine just going in to write. You don't need to write long, like I think barely 500 characters. The other one 500 characters, and it's done. And you're getting awarded $500 just for that, and $1,000 if it moves to the next stage, if it's used again. So I don't see any reason why anybody should not give this a try. So yeah, guys, thank you. These are just some updates around the ecosystem that I feel maybe would be relevant to us. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Obio. Very informative and very educative. I'm sure some of our members have some questions that they want to ask or some contributions that they want to add. The floor is open.
Nana, please don't ask about the lights.
Unless maybe you want to
Rubio,
provide a solution.
Yeah.
Rubio, I want to find out with the Interset proposal, are proposals, are they only on governance issues, budget issues, or general proposals like how Catalyst is?
Yeah, so you can put in any proposal, right? It's not, if you were in the last call, we talked about we talked about how Charles Hawkinson was not particularly happy with the initial approach that Intersect wanted to take by making it everything inside the bucket, and then you have to apply through the bucket and all of that. He said, this is a Voltaire, it's the governance of the people. So whatever you think should be done, just go get it done. I would always, but the only thing is, you should also know how to scale it, because now it's not Catalyst. You are talking of a broad ecosystem. So you should be smart about not making just you, but obviously trying to, in solving your problem, solve the bigger problem that our society or the ecosystem holds. But right now, you can put in any and everything. You must not put in a proposal that, and I really want us to test the system. Please, if there's anything I want us to do is test this governance system. We need to test it. We need to test it to the elastic limit, right? So let it be that we've tested the governance and we now said, no, it's not working, that is enfranchising, but we never can know, we never can tell unless we test this system.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Ifya. Yeah, Laurentine.
Yeah, so I heard during one with my participation in one of the working groups. I don't know if I heard right, but I feel like what somebody said that if you already have a funded proposal from Catalyst, you should not submit.
So not if you
is there
have
a limit to that? Like which proposal? Like we have so many proposals that have come up. So which one, up to which one should we not submit?
So sorry, thank you for that. This thing, it totally skipped my head, and I'm happy you brought it up. So if you have a funded proposal, so it's just to remove the challenge of double spend, right? So that we will not, for example, now we are doing the whole Catalyst African Town Hall is doing the initiatives in every other African country right now. So it will not be okay for us to now go back and tell them we want to do the same thing. That's absolutely out of it, right? Because that particular proposal, but maybe that if we want to do something that is different, right? Maybe even if it is still outreach, but it's different. Maybe the first one we are doing this thing, the next one we may be doing it. So far as there is a big difference, then yes. What they are against is like someone has been voted, someone got a proposal. Let's say you got a proposal to build an app that does A, and then you are still you now come back, that proposal is still ongoing, you now come back to this other side to now get money to build the same A. That's not actually accepted.
Okay, so for clarification, it's like if you are working on a project, you can't submit the same thing to this funding.
Yes.
Yes, it's quite understandable. Okay. But then it doesn't mean that if you have an ongoing project and you have a different idea, you can submit it. Is that it?
You can submit if you are having an ongoing project and you have a different idea, yes, you can submit.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Seydu. Or Laurentine, sorry, are we clear?
Yes. Thanks.
All right, Seydu.
Yeah, Obio, good day. I hope you are cool. Just to seek some clarification when it comes to the intercept proposals. Is there any kind of proposal template in terms of impact, visibility, and value for money, like we have in Catalyst, where we are focused on, or no? Or other way I'll ask is, are this proposal going to focus more on the benefit to the Cardano ecosystem, or to the social impact that this proposal could be, have on our society? Yeah.
Well, I would so let's start with the first one. Impact, all of those things are not there. It has a different template. In the last call we shared that. I'm sure maybe Daniel will be able to share the link again so that we can all go through and check it. So it has a total different template. It doesn't have all those impact score. However, I think the impact, feasibility, and all of that will be assessed by the DREPs, right? They are the ones that will look at the proposal and now be like, okay, this is what it should score based on this. So I would want to assume that that is actually the best way it will be done. With respect to, what was the second question? Okay, does it have to have a general Cardano use case or societal use case? I would say any Cardano related proposal should always have a Cardano direct or indirect benefit. If it's not benefiting the Cardano ecosystem, then why fund it? So it's actually not relevant. This does not mean that it shouldn't have society benefit. Obviously it should, but more so it should be able to show clear value to the ecosystem. That's why the reps will actually fund it or would actually vote for it. All right, Said, is that fine?
Yeah. I'm okay. Right.
Okay, Olivia, your hands was up.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to ask about singularity, those things about AI you've been talking about. So I don't know, what about even ideas or proposal we have to submit? So I know currently, many bodies, for example, in DRC, they don't know even AI. I don't know if proposals of even event or non-technical things
On
can also
Monday.
be found there. Thank you.
Why?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So specifically for this, no. So there are different uh, stuff that would be ongoing that they will have for things of that sort. This particular one is, and I think even in the DR Congo, it would be so nice if you can have a DR Congo proposal that just says AI for peace in DR Congo, whatever it is, and then try to see, maybe I'm just trying to synthesize now and be like, okay, maybe something that helps us to prevent conflict or that gives us information of conflict prone areas or what's going on in different areas, an AI that automatically captures the sentiment from these places and then gives you a database. So I'm just giving, sorry, you just sparked something in my head. I was like, wow. So since it's a conflict prone area and all of that, you can easily put in an AI or an app that goes through, pick informations, relevant potential crises, and all of that, and put it in one place so that you can see in real time and understand what's going on all around you. That's something. But again, when it comes to events and other things, maybe having people come together, there's a different funding for that. So deep funding has different funding mechanism. They have the ideation, they have the hackathon, they have the rounds, they have so different things coming up at different times. So they have the RFP. So there's a place for those kind of proposal. But this one is just to see how we can use AI to create peace in our world. That's just the intent for this one. Yeah. Laurentine and Madam Ife, I think your hands were up.
I just wanted to confirm this. It means that with the intercept proposal, it's only the DREPs that are voting. Am I clear?
Yes. The D-reps are the ones to always determine the only thing is it will be submitted together from Intersect or something. That's how they will do it. And then the council will just say it's constitutional or not. Most times it's always the packaging, but the core thing that will determine if it will be voted in or not is the D-reps. The D-reps are going to be voting on these proposals on an individual basis. They're not going to be packing all together and just vote yes for, which was the initial thing that was thought of. But now your proposals would be scrutinized on a personal base. Yeah, Laurentine.
So please, I read somewhere that there's a new form, a new submission form that was going to be given because the other one does not allow people to maybe save. I don't know if it is out yet. I've been waiting for that to submit one proposal. One proposal. I don't know if it is out yet.
Yeah, I also know it was. I read about that 2 days ago. I don't know if it is out, but if you have the way I normally do my proposals, I put all of them one place. So if you already have that, you can use this as well and submit. But there's a new proposal link coming up, and yeah, I've not yet heard anything about that if it's out or not. Yeah, Nana, don't talk about the light.
I'm not gonna talk about your light, eh? Yes, I have to hold Nigeria government responsible. So yeah, but I mean, good delivery so far. I just wanted to. I don't know if it's a clarification or sort of addition to all that you have said. And it has to do with the recent question that was asked by Madam Efia regarding whether or not it is going to be only DREPs who are going to vote on this budget. So, according to the new budget process. Now the community is allowed to submit their budgets, and then these budgets would be sort of showcased to DREPs on GovTools, and then the DREPs will have the chance to sort of review these budgets, and then they will have a very simple voting mechanism by just stating yes or no on each and every single proposal. So that is the first stage, and that is actually where we are now, right? And even as of now, it is still open for anybody at all to submit a proposal. I think the deadline is April 15th or so. So after April 15th, the results will be collated from GovTools, and then the proposals who met the threshold would be added to the intercept budget that will be submitted as info actions later on. So at the end of the day, we are going to have five bucket info actions as budget. And then these buckets will be voted on by DREPs, SPOs, and then the CCs, which is the constitutional committees, as official governance actions. So it is the result of these governance actions that is going to determine that, okay, so for instance, for core, DREPs, or let me say the community, the entire community is saying that for core, we should not spend this amount of money on these resources for core. So for that reason, for this particular year, the core budget was rejected. And if the core budget was rejected, it means that we'll have to go back to the drawing board and then go and engage the community again and then draw a new core budget to be submitted. However, if it is submitted and approved by DREPs, CCs, and also SPOs, then it allows for submission of treasury withdrawal actions later on. And that is actually what would pave the way for people to now, and if I say people, I mean the community who submitted proposals into these various buckets that were approved by DREPs in this particular round that we are. Now they can get access to the funds that they requested for to deliver on whatever they said they were going to deliver on. So that is pretty much on a high level what the process looks like. DREPs, obviously at this moment, would review these proposals that are being submitted and then just vote with yes or no. Just a very simple vote on GovTools. And then afterwards, the results are collated and then they are now grouped into the buckets like that and then submitted as info actions. And then DREPs, SPOs, and CCs now come to vote on these various buckets. And if it all ticks, then now we can look at submitting treasury withdrawal actions and then to access the funds afterwards. So pretty much the deadline, or let me say the timeline is, we are looking at somewhere June, July, I guess, there to actually get our hands on money for, development. So that is pretty much what it looks like. Thanks, Ubio, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Nana, for that insight breakdown. Thank you so much. All right. Any other question from the community? All right. So I'll yield. Okay, Laurentine.
I don't know if it is only me, but I'm not the only one because somebody also told me that they face the same problem. I submitted a budget and I received a feedback from Intersect. They said I should verify my identity. So I went through the process, but there's something that they said that will a prompt that will come up for us to verify. But that prompt does not work. That button is not functional. So I wrote to them and I've not received any reply. I don't know if I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Nana, do you have a response to that?
I have not encountered that problem, so I don't really know. But Laurentine, try reaching out to Hannah on Discord and see if she can be of help. Either Hannah or Lara.
Lara, yeah.
Yeah, get to them on
Thank
Discord.
you.
I think that'll be swift. And Ubio, I have a question for you. It has to do with the info action governance actions on idastat.net. So, for instance, if you look at the various proposals on there, those that have been submitted so far in terms of governance action for the info actions, each and every info action is meant to expire, and that is practically because they are not meant to make or have any, on-chain effect, right? So each and every one would expire. However, the ones that are ratified, or let me say the ones that pass, right, is determined by the thresholds that you sort of narrated during your presentation. But if you go on either start.net, GovTools, or tempo.vote, right, for instance, it is all being indicated as if they were all sort of accepted by the community, And I mean, we understand that these info actions are purposely for sort of gauging temperature from the community. So they are not something really to be very serious about, but they're just to gauge temperature. So for instance, with this particular roadmap, the team behind it was sort of gauging the temperature of the community as to whether they would want such, I mean, governance action to be proposed, so that we sort of ratify it. And I guess that's the reason why a majority of DREPs actually voted yes, because they felt like the items in there were useful and are going to be important to the ecosystem development. But I mean, we do understand the fact that CCs also have their own way of voting in terms of looking at the structure and also the constitutionality of the context and everything. So it's okay to have those diversity in terms of voting outcomes. But in this case where we had obviously the CCs passed their threshold, and then also the DREPs, I think they didn't pass their threshold, they were just a little bit shy from 65% or 66.67%. But SPOs, what was the SPOs counts?
SPOs did not matter in this. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, it's an info action.
Yeah. Okay, so it was primarily the DREPs and then the CCs, and the CCs passed, and then the DREPs a little bit shy away from, I mean, getting passed. In that case, what is the end result? Because I don't see it being, I mean, tagged as ratified on GovTools. I don't see it also being tagged as not ratified on GovTools as they normally would do.
Yeah, that is because we cannot ratify an info action, right? An info action is just, it's like a message that, just like somebody telling you, how are you doing? And you're saying, oh, I'm fine. That does not have any consequence, right? So even if it passes, it's not going to be ratified. So ratification is different from a pass. Ratification means that it has been given strength to come to pass. But an info action does not have that capacity to receive what it takes to come to pass. So so it is because of the nature of info actions that make it that way. They can only expire. They don't have the capacity to create on-chain effect. So because they cannot create on-chain effect, we cannot ratify them. It can only, it's just like someone asking us a question and different people responded until all of them were tired of responding, right? And that was just it. However, that response in itself curates or gives information that can be used for subsequent action in itself.
Very well. So in this case, for instance, where the CC, right? Three of them sort of voted abstain, and only one voted no, and then three voted yes. And then I mean, if you look at the DREPs count, they were just about 2 or 3% shy from meeting that particular threshold, right?
Yeah.
Would it be okay to see the team behind it sort of submitting it as like an official governance action, because they feel like the temp check that they did sort of give them the
A
confidence that,
good,
you know what, if we submit
yeah,
this,
good
the community is
confidence.
going to accept.
Yeah, I
And
think
if
so.
anything, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. I think so, because we've actually had like during that parameter change, this thing that we showed, and then the team went in and then reenacted, resubmitted the proposal and it passed. Once you're able to understand why it did not pass, then it's easy for you to know what to do to make it pass, right? So in this case, I think they have a very, very strong case, that if you probably at the IPFS, this thing, Intersect Council will likely vote a yes. And then, so that already means 4 out of 3. So that means on the constitutional T part, they're already out. They already passed. And then if they now move into the side where we have the DREPs, like they just needed a 3%, this thing is just a little bit more engagement and they will have a very strong case.
Awesome. And maybe we should point it out to the community that if you are looking at some of these governance actions on these GovTools, especially for the info actions, don't pay too much of attention to the thresholds, but rather look at how the voting patterns are moving, and then use it to sort of just oppose how, you reason along. Thank you very much, Ubio.
Thank you so much, Nana, for the information. I really appreciate it. All right. So one of those very engaging ones we had today. Any other one before we pass the mic back to Daniel?
Okay, just a quick one. I don't know. You have to be a member of Intercept before you can submit it.
Do you have to be?
A member of Intercept.
No, you don't have to be. Any member of the community can.
Right.
This is a very good question.
Yeah.
Then what benefit do the members of the Intercept get? I think this can be our next discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
very true.
I think our time is fast spent, but everything that we discuss here is worth it. So I'm sure nobody is complaining. Um, so we bringing today's town hall, African town hall, to an end. We appreciate all of you for coming. Right, our next meeting is going to be on 18th April. So 18th April, we are bringing another exciting topic for us to discuss and for you to get to know what is going on. When it comes to these proposals that Obio is talking about, is slightly high level than what we all know from Project Catalyst. So please, if you plan on putting something there, there's this tag of Africans that is going on in the community that we are trying to change that narrative. Um, Make sure you write something very, 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 very. I'm not adding any adjective, but it should be very, 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 very good proposal. If you have to partner with somebody, right, because of the person's reputation or the person can actually help you to implement the project, please do that rather than individuals flooding the entire place. Right. We're also looking at putting some things over there that can benefit all of us here in the core, not only the African Town Hall as well. So that's our plan. Today I want to give the opportunity to one of you guys to just close us, right? Anything you want to say, word of encouragement or something, just for us to close. A reason why you think this African Town Hall must continue bi-weekly and why we should invite more people. Anyone out there can grab the mic or mute yourself. A minute of
All right,
silence.
maybe I'll take it.
Okay. Okay, Nana.
Okay, so well, what I would say is that we all being here, I believe one way or the other, we are privileged to sort of be introduced to this technology at this hour. I know some years back, some people didn't get a chance to sort of engage with blockchain, Bitcoin to be specific, and up to now, those who probably didn't get a chance, they look back and they sort of regret because they probably saw it, but they didn't take it serious. But we are here, and we have sort of discovered Cardano. Quite earlier, and we are really making sure or doing our best in terms of contributing to in making it work out. And I think for whatever it is that you are doing, whether you are doing it as an individual or doing it as an entity or organization or community, you just need to, have more grace sort of added to your elbows, because now that we have entered the governance era, you should know that you, as you are there, as part of the Cardano community, you have the responsibility to safeguard about $1.7 billion treasury. And what I would say to that is that you need to always be coming forth in terms of making research, collaborating effectively and meaningfully, and also participating well to ensure that at least your contributions are being heard, and then your voice is truly being represented. Africa Town Hall continuing bi-weekly, it is obviously a good thing to do because it provides a platform for people to come on and come and learn about what is happening with them, as well as also getting the opportunity to sort of collaborate on projects that they're working on. So I think it is a good idea that you guys, which is Ubio, Daniel, Madam Efia, Richmond, was keep this going. More with your elbows, just keep doing the good work. And whenever we also have the chance to, pop in and also add our 2 cents of knowledge and contribution, we will be happy to show up. And if you are not delegating to a DREP yet, please do well to look out for a DREP. I think Ubio here is a DREP, Seidu is a DREP, Wada is a DREP, Roma is a DREP, right? Look for them on GovTools. Just search, or you can even go to just temple.vote, search by name, search for Remostat, search for Roma, search for Wada, search for Seidu, right? You will find them. Search for Laurentine, that is Incuba. You will find them, delegate to them, and then let's all grow the ecosystem to become the one that we want. Thanks, and enjoy your evening.
Okay, Nanasafo, thank you very much um for the word of encouragement and the information that you have shared, and for encouraging the Africans to delegate for a DREP. So, those of us who joined the call earlier on, we spoke about this particular project that we are about to do, which is more of a physical meetup that we are going to conduct in African countries. Currently, we have 3 partners that we are working with to implement this project, but that's not all. We'll be adding more partners, right? We have received some proposals from some of you that you want to host physical meetups. We also reach out to you, as well as new people that we have also identified that they are doing so well in their various countries that African Town Hall have never done any project there before. We also reach out to you and then add you to this project that we are about to do. Our first project will happen in Ghana, Tamale, somewhere in ending of this month or beginning of May. Either ending of this month or beginning of this May is still in discussion. And we also keep you updated how it goes. And you can also follow us on our social media, Africa_Townhall. We can visit our website, catalystafricantownhall.org. And if today is your first time, right, Richmond have shared some links in their group. You can also join our Telegram where we share most of our informations. Richmond, would you like to share the Telegram again, or let me do that? So please join the Telegram and you get to know what is going on in the ecosystem. Fidelia, I saw your hands earlier on. Do you want to contribute something to your other question, please?
I wanted to share my words of encouragement, but I think Nana Safo already said a lot.
Oh, please go ahead.
But personally, Catalyst African Town Hall has been a place I always loved to be because it's interactive, it's engaging, and I get the chance to catch up on whatever that I've missed during the week on Cardano. And they share opportunities and we get to network. So it's a cool place to be. And if I get the opportunity, I invite others to also join and learn. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Fidelia. I've personally been tracking your progress in the ecosystem. I remember when you joined earlier on, somewhere 3 years ago. I remember we started with some quizzes, and you were part of it. You took part in the quizzes, and you did so well. So I remember your progress and how far you are doing. And I recently noticed that you joined the Cardano Ghana community to launch some projects I think in Kumasi or Tamale. Yeah, so you are doing so well, and we recognize for everything that you are doing. And at due time, you also hear from us. So on this note, I want to say au revoir. Have a nice day. Have a nice good night. I'll stop recording the call. If you want to hang around and chat or introduce yourself or anything that you want to discuss off topic, you can do that as we are not recording. Thank you.